Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar this afternoon. Joining us is Ryan McGee from iSolutions, and Ryan's going to be presenting on Save Time with Collection Management and Payments for Business Central. And I know you're all eager to get started with the presentation, so before I pass it over to Ryan to get started, I just want to remind you that we are recording this webinar as well as all of our webinars, and it will be posted to our on-demand webinar library for you to review again or share with anyone. And if you do have any questions, please feel free to type them into the questions box, and we will get them answered at the end of our session during our Q&A time. So now I'm going to pass it on over to Ryan to kick off our presentation.
Thanks, Angie. Can you hear me, see me okay?
I can hear you, yes. And I can see your
Cool.
screen.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Angie, thanks for teeing it up. My name is Ryan McGee. I'm from iSolutions, and today I'm going to be showing you guys our app out in the Microsoft App Store for Business Central. Right now, I'm showing you our page out in the Microsoft Store. One of the reasons I'm showing you this is there is a vetting process, so it is Microsoft approved. So I think what makes our app a little bit unique is, in addition to integrated payments, our app has a collections feature. And so really, in my mind, when you think about accounts receivable, you not only think about payments, but you think about collections and all that good stuff that goes along with it. Also, one thing we're very proud of is we do have one of the top rated apps out there in the App Store. So if you guys are interested in reading more about what our customers had to say, you can check out some of the reviews out there. So given that, I'm going to go ahead and hop into Business Central. And the first thing I'm going to show you guys is our collections piece of the app. And then after that, I'm going to hop more into the integrated payment piece. So step number one, I'm going to open up the collections manager. And basically what the collections manager is, it's a summarized AR aging by customer with notes. So you're going to see all the customers that owe you money. There's going to be, we're going to sum up the number of outstanding invoices. And if I scroll over here to the far right, you're going to see the last note that was taken with the customer. You're going to see the last note right here, the last person who took the note. If you want to see all notes in activity, you would simply hit the fact box over here on the right. And then the fact box is going to show you all the different interactions with that particular customer. There are reminder notes. So maybe if you're talking to a customer and you want to have a follow-up for 2 weeks down the road, you could do that. And then these are going to be all your follow-ups for the future. So given that, I'm going to go ahead and one other piece, are the customer stats window is here as well. So if you want to see any relevant information about the customer, it would be right here in your stats sheet. A couple other things about this window. The aging buckets down here are, if I click on the aging buckets, this grid here is dynamically going to change and show you exactly what makes up those numbers. In my mind, if I'm a collector, I'm going to want to focus on anything 90 days and over. And then if I want to start back and just see all open AR, I would hit my total button, and then that's going to take me back to my totals. A couple things as well is we do have you can assign collectors to a customer record. So if I wanted to hit view assigned customers, I would only see the customers that I'm assigned to as a collector. So I'm going to go ahead and hit view all. And before I dive into anything else, all these pages within DC you can dump to Excel. I know as a former end user, people, you always are going to want to be able to, dump these out and sort and sift through those records. Speaking of that, you can do a search. So maybe if I wanted to, zone in on one of my accounts, I would simply use the search box right here, and it'll say I want to focus on this customer here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this customer account. And then from here, what I'm going to see is I'm going to see all the details that make up those past due aging buckets. So a couple things you can do in this window. First off, you can access the window through the customer account as well as the collections manager. So you're going to see notes, and really the difference between the note up here and then the note down here is this is what we call a header level note, and then this down here is at the invoice specific note. And one thing you can do is if you want to take notes and attach them to all 3 invoices, or maybe 2 of the invoices for credit memo, you could highlight these 2, hit note, And then from here, you could select an action ID. Here's some of the basic ones that you would have. 20 years ago, fax would have been in there, but it's obsolete. So I could type in a note via webinar, and then that note is going to get attached to the account and those invoices. If I want to add a reminder date, that would be in there as well. So let's go ahead and click back out of there. A couple of things with this window, kind of our vision was it would be an all-in-one place for anything that you would need AR related. So if I hit my my ledger entries, you're going to see all the ledger entries. So I know I've got a pending credit memo out there. I can simply come in here and apply that to the open invoices. The average days to pay on the customer is here in the entry stats window. So if I open up this guy, you're going to see the average days to pay down here. Pretty much anything you're going to want to see AR related is going to be right here. Let's say you're talking to your customer and he's like, gosh, Ryan, I never got any of my open invoices. Could you please send me everything I have open in the system? You could simply just highlight all the open transactions. You could hit send email. And then from here, we're going to have our kind of base letter template. So you can make a one-time change to the customer name. One thing that is nice about Business Central, you can decide which contact you're going to send that to. So I'm going to send this to myself. One other thing that we do have is you can add attachments to the email. So maybe you want to add the statement of work, such as hey, dear customer, our statement of work says we're terms net 15, and you're clearly beyond that. Please give me an update on the invoices. So I'm going to go ahead and hit send email. And let's go ahead and do that. And then one thing that this window does as well, and I'm going to kind of briefly hit on integrated payments, but within this window, here's where you could run past due invoices with credit card. And so a couple things, if I want to highlight, which invoices I want to pay, you would highlight those, and then you can do partial payments. So maybe here I wanted to say, hey, I only want to pay $100 this invoice. That's where you would do it. So in this example, I'm just going to pay this one invoice. Let's actually go ahead and do both of these. So let's go ahead and hit both of them. I want to hit iPayments. It's going to tally up the total amount due. And within this window, you do have the option to pay with ACH, e-check, and the default card is going to populate here automatically with the option to change which card you're going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and hit capture. System's going to let me know that 2 cash receipts were created. Then I'm going to go back, and then you're going to see that those 2 open invoices dropped off my ledger. One last thing about this window, you can do your basic cash receipts here. Just like I said, it's a one place for everything you need AR related. So let's hop back into my email. You're going to see that the email that I sent with all the past due invoices is here. We do have a click to pay where the customer can click and run the payment on those. I did pay 2 of those invoices, and then here's the receipt that the end customer gets. Just letting the customer know, hey, here's the 2 invoices that you paid. Here's the dollar amount that you paid, and it was using the Visa card ending in 111. There is an attachment here as well. So pretty much the same information, logo, and it's going to show you the payment journals and everything that was paid. So let's go ahead and close that out of this and go back to BC. So what I showed you so far was the collections manager, kind of how to send past due emails. And one of the things our solution does have is collection plans. And essentially what a collection plan is, it's going to do everything I just showed you, but it's all automated. So let's go ahead and click on this plan name called Standard. And essentially what you have is I've got one plan on my system called Standard. I'm saying that I only want to send reminders out for anyone who owes me anything more than $1. My filter here is I'm going to run my aging based on due date. And then down here we have a series kind of like different steps. So essentially step 1 is it's going to send my customer a reminder 5 days before they owe me money. And then step 2 is I kind of got lazy here and I just made one big reminder for anyone that owes me past due within 0 to 10,000 days past due. Then over here on the right, you can have different letter templates. So, obviously, if you add more buckets, you can get a little more aggressive as time goes on. A couple things: you can assign the plan to all customers or certain customers. So, if you wanted to, assign those, that this is where you would do it. And lastly, you can schedule this job to run as a job queue. A lot of people will make it run once a week, once a month, whatever the case might be. And then just for the sake of the demo, I'm going to manually kick this off and kind of show you what it looks like. So it's going to go through that sequence of events, and it's going to find that the past due agings. And then if I open up my email here in a minute, there should be some of the aging reminders coming in for my customer. So again, all these letters are configurable. There's a click to pay at the bottom, and you can modify these based on the different sequences that you have in the system. So that's going to let me know that the collection plan was successful. It went ahead and ran, and one last thing too is it does write to an event log. And so when I look at my customer notes, it's going to write on there and say, hey, there was an automated plan that went out automatically. So that really covers the first piece of the webinar, which is the collections component. What I'm going to go over next is our integrated payments piece. And I know I briefly hit on that. So let's go ahead and open up a customer account. And so a couple things you're going to see here. There's going to be two fields here, one called collector. And basically this collector field is a drop down of all your users in the system. So this is just simply saying, hey, R. McBee is a collector for customer number 10,000, and he's assigned to the standard collection plan. Also, that collections window I showed you a few minutes ago is also accessible if I go to actions and collections. Then it's going to show me, everything that I have open here in the system. So one thing that our solution does have is you have the ability to store card profiles for future use on sales orders and sales transactions. So if I go to iPayments and I hit profiles, you're going to see a list of all the different profiles that I have here. And if I want to add a card, I could manually add it. Then I would hit save profile, then verify. One of the things we added on our latest build is you can actually email your customer a secure link where they can enter their own credit card information, then it'll write back to the gateway and tokenize inside of Business Central. So let's go ahead and send this customer a request. And if I open up my email here, I should have, there we go, request for credit card. Customer, and this is all customizable, so your customer would click on the click here button. And every one of our clients has their own page. So obviously your logo would be on here, your subdomain, all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and enter my card. Hit save payment information. So that should have written an additional credit card inside of Business Central. So we'll just go ahead and hop back over here. So what I'm going to show you next is kind of how we work with sales orders and quotes. So one of the things our solution does have is the first piece I want to show you is our quote to cash piece. So let's go ahead and create a new sales quote. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and email this out to my customer. And let's go ahead and hit send email. And keep in mind, this is quote number 1043. And so let's go ahead and open and back up my email. And so your customer is going to get a quote, sales quote, looks something like this. They can click down here at the bottom, and once they approve it, they're going to go here to click to pay. And again, we're using the same page that we set up for our clients. You just notice it's going to be, this page is going to be geared towards a sales quote. So customer is going to enter their credit card. They're going to hit authorize payment. And then once the credit card is successfully authorized, what our app is going to do is going to go ahead and convert that sales quote into a sales order. And then, so let's go ahead and hop back into Business Central. And let's go find my sales order. So I've got number 1165. And once I open this up, you're going to notice up here at the top, it's going to show my old quote number since this was converted from a quote. So there we have, there's quote number 1043. Then if I scroll down, you're going to see that there's my authorized amount of 433. Customer can, you guys might be able to, add a few bucks for shipping, something along those lines. And then you're going to go hit post. And this example, I'm going to hit ship an invoice. And then what our solution does at this point is it'll convert that pre-authorization into a credit card payment, and it will go ahead and close out the invoice inside of BC. So when I open up my posted sales invoice, you're going to see that's closed. I've got a little option or setup to write that record right there. And then most importantly, the customer is going to get an email receipt. Hey, hey, thank you for your business. Here's your receipt for invoice number 385. So that's quote to cash. What I'm going to show you next is how we work on a new sales order. So let's go ahead and add a line item on here. And so really within this sales order, we work really a variety of different ways. Number one is our app does work up this prepayment functionality down here. We do have the option to add a card here, and as the invoice post, I'll go ahead and run payment. We do have a click to pay. So if your customer is maybe on net 30 terms, they can click to pay and pay afterwards. One option we do have is if you go up here to actions, hit iPayments. I'm going to grab my card profile. We do have the option to manually initiate an authorization. And one thing we do have as well is we do have the option to do a deposit. And so a deposit is going to hit your bank account tomorrow morning, where a pre-auth is not going to convert into a deposit until you actually ship and invoice the order. So what I'm actually going to do in this example is I'm going to go ahead and email the sales order confirmation to the customer, and I'm going to let them do the authorization themselves. So let's go ahead and email this out. Hit send email. And keep in mind, this is order number 1166. Customer gets email. Down here, here's their click to pay. And this example is going to pull up the order information. So your customer is going to go ahead and enter their card, hit authorize payment, and then this lets me know that the authorization was successful for $192.80. Then I'm going to hop back into Business Central, and I'm going to take a look at that sales order. And you're going to notice if I scroll down here at the bottom that there's a bucket here for authorized amount. So a couple things. Like I said, you can initiate the authorization yourself, or you can send your customer the order confirmation. They can do it themselves, and you can do a prepayment deposit as well. So in this example, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change the dollar amount because I'm going to add $3 for shipping. Then I'm going to go ahead and hit post, ship an invoice. And then again, same as last time, our solution is going to go ahead and run that full credit card payment. And then it's going to go ahead and close out the invoice, make the cash receipt in the system, email the customer the receipt, and then you're good to go. So I think given that, I've kind of gone over, I know we're about 20 minutes in this, but I've gone over our collections module as well as integrated payments. There's probably a lot that I missed. So given that, Angie, if anyone's got any questions, I'm here to answer those.
Thank you, Ryan. Yes, we do have a question that came through. If anybody has any more, please feel free to type those in and we'll get them addressed. First question for you, Ryan, is do I need to install iPayments to use the collections piece, or does it work with my current payment system?
Yeah, good question. So the collections piece, originally when we built this app, we had talked about making them, two separate apps, one for payments, one for collections. And so everything I showed you is all in one app. So if you didn't want the payments piece and you only wanted collections, then you could get it that way.
Okay, thank you. And does the payment get posted to the invoice automatically?
Yeah, good question. So I'm going to actually hop back into BC and I'm going to show you a couple of settings. So the first thing I'm going to show you is our iPayment settings window. And these are some of the basic settings that are on the sales order. For instance, like here's an authorization warning, and we have a little pop-up that will say, hey, there's been no credit card ran, and just let the user know before they go ahead and ship an invoice. But our merchant-specific settings are right here. Our solution does allow multiple merchant accounts, so if you're operating different divisions, we've got that handled. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this account right here. In regards to auto post, I did have auto post turned on, but there is an option to turn that off, and you can review that before it actually hits the system. A couple things, you can hit the GL account or a bank account. I'd say some of our larger accounts will create a GL account called like undeposited funds, and then that will then the next day once it hits the bank, then they'll just do a lump sum transfer. Some of our other clients where maybe they're not doing maybe but a few transactions a day, they might select bank account or just the GL account for bank account. That's kind of what we're finding out there. So a couple things too I want to show you in the setting are receipt settings. So I do have the auto email receipt turned on full time. And there is an option to have a copy email in those receipts. What a lot of our customers do, they might have like, copy accounting at anovia.com or something along those lines. So if the customer has a question, then they're kind of already in the loop on it. So I think that covers that question, I hope.
Okay, thank you. We do have another one that came through. Does your
Great.
solution work with all versions of NAV or just with Business Central?
Yeah, that's a great question too. So our app works on any version of NAV that's version 15 and above. So it has to be at least version 15 on premise or in the cloud.
All right, Ryan, I think those are all the questions that we have for you today. If anybody has any further questions, feel free to contact your account manager here at Anovia Consulting, or if you want to give Ryan a shout out. Ryan, do you have your contact info?
Yeah, I do. Let me put it on a notepad here.
While he's doing that, I just want to thank everyone for attending our webinar today, or if you are watching on demand, we thank you for taking the time out to join us.
Yeah, thanks, Angie. Thanks for putting this together.
Not a problem. And just to let you know, we do have more webinars coming up. Next Wednesday, January 20th, we have Richard Lee from Dynamic Web presenting on how to launch a B2B e-commerce channel your customers will use. So check out our website for more of our upcoming events, and that's anovia.com/events. And most of you are all aware of this, but for those of you who are not, we do have our training workshops set up. So please go on to our website, and that's anovia.com/workshops to see the different workshops that we have available and to see which one fits you best so you can sign up to get training on the specific one that you would like to have more info on. And Anovia has a podcast that is going on now for 2 years, and we just want to encourage you to listen to our selection that our hosts, Steve Waltz and Jeff Pergolski, have provided to us. And you can find out about all the different podcast platforms to listen to on our podcast page, and that's anovia.com/podcast. So check out our selection and subscribe so you'll be notified when those new episodes air. All right, everyone, we thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you soon on another Innovia webinar.